my legs, well, my quads are freaking destroyed from yesterday. That was good. That was yeah. Having a quad only session when I'm dieting, that's about the sweet spot of overload, because your hamstrings and your quads combined, I mean, it's a big ass muscle. So when I'm dieting down, it does make a bit more sense to really separate them, just so that my kind of weekly workload isn't too wild, and I can still kind of maintain my necessary recovery, so I keep my knees feeling good and my hamstrings and adductor, just pretty much everything in between, right? But obviously when I'm eating a ton of food, doing a full hamstring quad leg day all in one session, that's a different story, because I've got so much food in my system to facilitate that recovery that it makes more sense to do them all at once. So that's really where my diet does end up changing the training a touch. I don't change it a ton, like I'm still doing the same chest, back, and arm volume. I add a little bit of shoulders back in, but yeah, probably the biggest change is just the fact that now quads and hamstrings get split up, so it's only a once a week kind of situation. They are getting some activation on the daily though, with the cardio and the bike and just whatever. I don't know if I see the appeal of doing like one cardio session with my legs and then the other with like the manual hand pedaler, but maybe there's actually something to that, because then you're splitting up the workload between your lower body and your upper body, and you're not going to overdo it. I don't know. That's something to think about. That's not something to think about right this exact moment, I think. But no, so after this is one thing that I didn't realize I'd have to think about, but I might want to switch up my days of this sort of loop, because now it's a 4-day loop. It's like legs, chest, back, arms, repeat. But if my quads are destroyed and then I come in to do chest, well, it's going to be kind of hard to even pick up the dumbbells if I want to do incline dumbbell bench, just because my legs are freaking cooked. So that's another thing I might want to potentially change up a little bit. But either way, we'll just have to freaking see. But yeah, we'll still, in terms of how this workout will look, I'm not exactly certain if I want to start with really heavy pressing or maybe start with flies first. But I think that's something I'll just find out once I get in there, because I got to warm up my rotator cuffs. I got to actually get, kind of into the zone of things, and then say, okay, this will be good, this will be good, this will be good, and then kind of go from there. Vulture on the side of the road. But yeah, breakfast this morning, not the most enticing to the general public, I will admit, but for me, I enjoyed it. One can of canned chicken, which is getting a little bit of hate. Preservatives, salt, sodium levels. Personally, I've never, obviously it's not good, sure, right? Whatever random preservative in certain kind of foods, it's probably not the best thing in the world. But I think it's within reason. That's why, and just based on like my subjective feeling when I'm eating canned chicken relatively frequently, I feel pretty good. It's, straight up chicken, some added ingredients just for like shelf life. But the whole point is it's just a boiled thing, and it's cooked in the can. I'm assuming that's kind of what my understanding of it was, or at least eventually sealed off so there's no extra bacteria. It's not like I'm getting all my protein from American cheese slices, right? That's a completely different level of what do you call, chemically, not genetically modified, but you get what I'm saying. That level of processing, I don't think the canned chicken is off limits. So I don't know if I stand behind that hate. Maybe a little bit, but not a ton. But that mixed up with some mustard, mayonnaise, relish, a little funky, but what my logic there is, it's just a deconstructed sandwich, right? I do the same thing with ground beef. If I got half a pound of ground beef, I've got a couple options. I could melt some fat-free cheese onto it, right? Now I get kind of a cheesy beef. Or use some sugar-free barbecue sauce. Now I'm just eating straight up beef with barbecue sauce. Or mustard, sugar-free ketchup, low-fat mayonnaise, relish, mix the whole thing up together. Now suddenly I'm eating a freaking hamburger, right? Obviously it's just deconstructed, there's no bun or anything, but the basic gist of the flavor is there. So given that right now the protein is the most important kind of macro that I'm chowing down on, like I'm never gonna sit in front of a big ass bowl of carbs when I'm dieting down. I don't have a 200 gram of carb bowl of rice with sauce or anything that I've got to really fill up on. This shit doesn't happen, right? The carbs end up being sides to the protein. So that's where I try to get a little more versatile, where if I can flavor it differently or I can eat it in just some kind of different sort of way, whether it's ground beef, fish, eggs, well, that's what I'm going to want to do, but I think that's something to get into. It's about time for a dieting full day of eating. So I'll try to prep some meals so I can bring you guys along with me, and instead of just have every meal be eaten right in the freaking kitchen of the house, it can be a little bit more varied. But yeah, I mean, not the most exciting stuff in the world, but that's the stuff that works, right? I mean, it's the guys who just sit on their cardio bike and play on their phone, they track their calories, they actually use the food scale that they got. They don't just say that they have a food scale and let it sit in their fridge or let it sit in their cupboard. Like, it's those little small things, and they really do add up and snowball towards the rest of those gains and progress that you're trying to make. But I think nothing else to say. Let's just freaking get started. All right, so I think the 150s are within reason, but I might be asking for trouble with more than a couple sets, because I want to expose myself to heavy loads, stay strong. I don't want to hurt myself or like wreck my shoulder or anything weird. Just some of the things you can't predict. So I think let's do one 150 set. I'm warm. I've been warmed up on the cables, triceps, rotator cuff, hundreds, 110s, 130s, now 150s. I think it's probably going to be in my best interest to use this heavy press a little more Mensa-ish, one and done, and then move on to more controlled sets later on. Now, I'm not saying that as a cut and dry rule. I'm just saying for me right now. All right, let me pick a better song though. Okay. Let's just do the one and move on. Very good opener though. All right. I think let's make today a little fancy. Alternate between heavy pressing, or really any pressing, into flies. So good heavy pressing start. Now let's do a set of flies. Maybe I'll do a few set of flies before the next press. Like I'm not locked into just one set of everything, but yeah, this will be good. And more than anything, this is gonna be different than what I normally do, which is kind of what I'm aiming for. Yeah. Yeah. Whew. Let's hit a press, but I am going to come back to this. Okay. Back to the flies. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's do a cable press next. I lied. Instead of a set of cable press, let's do one pec deck first. And just how this is feeling with a good pec deck set and then finishing with some cables, that could be it. Let me see how this set goes, of course. That is if I can get a good song going. Okay. Let's go finish this off. This is going to be a reverse of what I've just done before, where instead of starting with flies and finishing with some presses, this one's going to start with presses and then finish with lighter squeezing flies. And just based on pumped levels, fatigue levels, burning levels, let's say we're getting close to the end. I think this is going to be it, as long as it's a good set. Okay. All right, let's pose down. All right, so what was that total? Dumbbell, cable, yeah, dumbbell, cable, machine, cable again, pec deck, cable finisher, I'll have to add up all the sets at the end, do a little bit of a set accounting. But guess what? Does it exactly matter what it was if we know what it added up to? Right? I think that's something to keep in mind at least. But let's see how we're looking. So overall, chest-wise, I feel pumped. Like I can, even just bringing my hands this close, I can feel my chest kind of starting to run into itself, which is like that squeezing feeling I want at the bottom of every wild press. But how about we just stop talking about it and actually see what it ends up looking like? Okay. I can crank that down a little. There we go. Oh my goodness. I think it almost doesn't demand too much description. Yeah, definitely pumped. But what I'm really excited for is the leaner I get, these little grains, if you can kind of see them creeping across, they will get just more and more prominent. Not to mention all the chest veins that are in here just kind of hidden away. Like, here we go. Let me see if I can really get this one going. Oh, goodness. A little bit. But as I get leaner, to bust out a vein like that won't even require a freaking breath hold. It'll just be like a little flex and it'll just shoot out. But nothing else to say there. Let's get in the car. All right. Yeah, so that's exactly what I wanted. In the gym, energy in the gym. I guess obviously I was going to be in the gym, but good energy, good pump. Now I get to go home, eat some stuff, chill, and get ready for back tomorrow. But yeah, that was solid. That's I tell you something. There's not a ton. There aren't a ton of things that are in your complete control. But if you got your workout, you know what you're hitting at 5 o'clock or at 6 o'clock or whatever o'clock, and you're gonna bring it. And you're doing something because you want to do it. You're motivated to do it. It's hard, but you get to reap the benefits. And guess what? I probably couldn't describe a better situation. And we always talk about how the gym will teach you lessons. Like you're gonna really learn discipline, consistency, everything else. I think the biggest part in terms of a mental takeaway from actually starting to work out, or I mean, not even just work out, but actually like picking something and saying, I want to get better at this. I want to work and improve at this specific thing, which in our case right now, we're talking about working out. Well, it just gives you this like tangibility on your impact, at least on your own life, where shit, man, things are changing. I'm bigger than I was before. I'm leaner than I was before. And not magically, it's because I've been doing XYZ very consistently for the last 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, year, 2 years, whatever. Like it's almost like proof you're freaking alive, man. Because it's something that you're going after because you want it, right? Did you go to elementary school because you wanted to? Right? In your heart of hearts, when you were a kid, you said, I can't wait to go do this. No, that's what everybody does, right? Same with high school, same with whatever. Like there's a lot of things where it's kind of just a beaten path that we're put on, and then you do it. But is that you living your own life, or are you just kind of doing your part because this is what you're supposed to do? It's kind of funny. It's that clip of, like, I'm not even a Kanye fan. Like, I don't really listen to any Kanye music, but he's got a lot of quotes that are kind of wild. Oh, okay. Obviously, he has a lot of quotes that are wild, but I'm saying there's this one that was kind of funny. It's where he was saying some shit like, telling some kid like, oh, you got to act right. Hey, you got to start acting normal. It's like, what are we all acting? Is this not? Are we not making our own individual choices? We're just playing parts in this big ass, just theatrical release of life. And in a way, we kind of are. But when it comes to something that you individually can go after, I think there's a lot of value there, right? But I don't think about this all the time. Like, shit, I feel like if it weren't for the fact that I started recording all these workout videos and kind of like getting a deep talk afterward and before, kind of just really reflecting on the whole situation, I don't think I would, I don't know. I would still value working out, but I think the fact that I've gotten to like really put this much thought, and not even thought, but also like spoken word into like reflecting about it, I wonder what I would look like if, almost 3.5, a little more than 3 years ago, if I never made that first TikTok and I just kept lifting solo. I guess we'll never know. But good workout. I'm gonna go eat some ground beef. I'm gonna go cook some ground beef rather, and get ready to eat it. And then just keep getting serious. I'd say probably about a month from now, a side-by-side pose from peak bulk will look pretty, like it's already different, but it will look more substantially different, and then it'll only increase from there. So it'll probably be a little bit before I'm in the 240s consistently, but that's all right. That's all right. Time is on my hands, or I've got time on my hands, so I don't need to rush into anything. I want to make sure that this diet is smooth and steady. So yeah, I think nothing else to say, but I'll see you for some back tomorrow, wherever that goes down.